See, it's one thing to declare and to begin to act on going young. It's another thing to actually do it within the context of the NHL's salary cap. Good morning to you. Good. Tuesday morning, I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates that I hope you'll also check out. For the 2025-26 National Hockey League season, the Penguins are currently looking at a cap allocation of $74.3 million. Allocation, of course, meaning money that's committed, like in stone, to players for next season. Cap space that's then left behind is $21.2 million, which, to put it in comparative terms for recent years, is way more than what they usually have. So even if you'd considered, what some of the most seismic moves could be this offseason that would affect the cap, well, I mean, you can pretty much begin and end that discussion with Erik Karlsson. Karlsson's got a $10 million cap hit adjusted, but look, even if you move Karlsson, you're not moving him and clearing that cap space. You're moving him for somebody or multiple somebodies who are going to make roughly the same amount. That's just the way that would have to go. And as I go through the rest of this, Sidney Crosby, $8.7 million, Chris Letang, $6.1, Gino, $6.1, Tristan Jarry, of course, at 5.4, Brian Russ, 5.1, Ricard Raquel at 5, Ryan Graves, 4.5, Kevin Hayes, 3.5, Thomas Novak, 3.5. By the way, we got to see very little of him. And working your way down to the $2 million figure, Alex Nedeljkovic at 2.5, Danton Heinen at 2.25, and yes, he is signed for another year. And Noel Acciari at 2. And yes, he is signed for another year. And the same applies, by the way, to Blake Lizotte at 1.85. Everybody else and everything else that's on this list is down around the NHL's minimum. So those guys are going to be there. Those guys, again, emphasizing that even if Karlsson is gone, his cap space won't just be magically sitting there. This is a team that has a lot of money that it could spend. And if you populate the remainder of this roster with, like Koivunen, Rutger McGroarty, Owen Pickering, guys like that, all in the 800, 900,000 range, you're going to be well below the NHL's cap. Now, this is where this stuff gets really complicated, and I'm going to deliberately bow out of it before it gets too messy. But every salary cap system comes with a ceiling and a floor. And the floor for the coming season is $70.6 million, which is really kind of close to the figure that I just gave you for the allocations. What's more, if you get into the less tangible rules that are in all of this, the Fenway Sports Group has committed to spending up to the cap. Now, does that mean you have to force it down Kyle Dubas' throat that he has to do that if it puts his roster at jeopardy? If it keeps him from starting all the young players that he genuinely wants to start, not for the purpose of being cheap, but because he actually wants to have them on the ice? No, of course you don't do that. But between me, you, and casual Pittsburgher in line at the original Oyster House in Market Square, I don't know that it's going to sit all too well with this public, this particular public at this point in our city's sports struggle, our collective sports struggle, that this out-of-town ownership would be coming in 20-some million under the cap when, there would not be corresponding discounts for season ticket holders and so forth. I'm not saying that's the right way of thinking. I'm saying that that's the likely way that a lot of the more common fans are going to be thinking. Why is this happening? If you can afford better players than the ones we're watching, why are we watching this? Now, I say that, and then bear in mind that this could be Gino's last year, so there goes $6 million. Hayes and Heinen and Achari and Lizotte, there goes another, 12 million? Can throw Ned in there as well, because one of the youngsters you would imagine would be taking one of the two spots in Pittsburgh, certainly a couple seasons from now. So depending on your viewpoint here, this is either the most awesomest thing ever because the Penguins are going to be swimming in cap space, and yes, they absolutely can go chase Mitch Marner or whoever, or you're being more in tune with and sensitive to the legitimate need to get some of these younger players onto the NHL roster to show what they can do in the NHL. And then from there, remember that even once they're in Pittsburgh, once they become regulars, they still don't need to be paid a significant amount of money for a good while. Just imagine for fun the computer models that Dubas' people are putting together on this stuff. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Rod, who says, DK, the longer this coaching search drags out, the more convinced I am it's going to be DJ Smith. I would prefer Mitch Love, but doesn't it seem like it's going in that direction? Rod, it's not going to seem, well, I guess it could seem like anything, but if you're basing it on the standard Canadian rumor mill, just don't, okay? Just don't. I've said this for years. Some have taken exception to it. Some have bitterly taken exception to it. And that's that although it's not universally true, in certain markets up north, particularly those in Ontario, particularly those in a certain large city in Ontario, it's pretty much anything goes. And by that I mean any standard goes. You don't have to have sources. You don't even have to claim that you have sources. You can say things like, and listen carefully for these phrases when you hear them, I believe, or I think. Okay, now you hear those in isolation. It doesn't sound like much, right? Okay, now watch this. I believe that the Penguins have boiled this search down to two candidates. Hear how much more convincing that sounds? Not the I believe part, but the rest of it. The rest of it is there to buttress the I believe. Here's another one. I believe that this could come down to just Mitch Love and the Penguins. Sounds superficial. Doesn't mean a damn thing what anybody believes. It really doesn't. If you have actual information in this line of work, you can say things like, meaning if you can't name the sources or whatever, which is common in this sort of thing, you say, I am hearing that the Penguins and Mitch Love are close on a contract, or I am hearing that DJ Smith is the favorite. Not that I believe or I think. Being blunt here, that's the kind of stuff that you put forth if, for example, let's say, you have 32 thoughts to fill in a given feature. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. And we will have another one of these tomorrow.